The FedEx Cup champion has been crowned, and the winner, Tommy Fleetwood, finally breaks through. For those of you that are pretty big golf fans, you know that Tommy Fleetwood is a Ryder Cup star for Europe, a guy who has won multiple times on the European Tour, the DP World Tour. He's a guy who has a high world ranking, but he had never been able to get it across the finish line yet on the PGA Tour. He had a close call. He lost the Canadian Open in a playoff. He got edged out by Keegan Bradley earlier this year on a Sunday, but he holds it together, pulls through, and claims his first PGA Tour victory, and he does it at a time that was a great time to do it, because with the victory, with the new FedEx Cup format, the winner of the Tour Championship is also the FedEx Cup champion. So Tommy Fleetwood now with one career PGA Tour victory and one FedEx Cup to his name. And nothing against Tommy Fleetwood, who I like quite a bit. He's the long-haired guy with a beard on the PGA Tour, so I got to be on his side. He seems like an exceptionally nice guy. I've been a Tommy Fleetwood fan for a long time, and every time he's flirting with victory, I've been pulling for him, and I'm glad to see him win. So this has nothing to do with Tommy Fleetwood personally. But I think you got to do something about this format. Something about the format has to be done here. It started out, the FedEx Cup points were a mathematical problem that was on the level of what Zach Galifianakis was considering in the casino in Hangover. And people couldn't follow it. It was hard to understand. The leader of the tournament was not the leader of the FedEx Cup. And so we're getting all these updates on the screen. You needed a telestrator, a calculator, an abacus, a Bible. There was no way for people to understand it. So finally they decided, screw that. What we're going to do now is we are going to start people off already under par relative to where they were on the season. And then Scottie Scheffler is so fucking good already. You want to start Scottie Scheffler 10 under par at the beginning of a tournament and then watch him just choke the life out of the rest of the field? People decided, well, that's not right. The winner of the Tour Championship hasn't even been the person who had the lowest score for the tournament with the staggered starting score. So people didn't like that. And now they've just gone back to the way that it was. The Tour Championship is the Tour Championship. And we're just going to say, okay, hey, here, while you're walking away with your hardware, grab the FedEx Cup too. As I tweeted, I like Tommy Fleetwood. And I do. I'm a Tommy Fleetwood fan. But the FedEx Cup means less than nothing when somebody with 0 career victories comes in, gets their first career victory on the tour, and they get the FedEx Cup championship with it. Because what is it really representing? I mean, I think we have to decide what it is. And honestly, at this point, I don't think the FedEx Cup has any relevance. I really don't. Because Scottie Scheffler won 5 tournaments this year, and he won 2 majors. There is no world in which having 5 victories and 2 majors should be completely negated by a guy getting his first win ever just at the right time. It's a tournament. People say, well, it's a playoff. Technically, it's a playoff. I had somebody on the internet yesterday say to me, well, that's how playoffs work, and called me not a very nice name in saying it. But you can't really have playoffs in golf like you have playoffs in other sports. And so to come down to the last tournament of the year and just say whoever wins the last tournament of the year is the season champion, it doesn't make any fucking sense, is what it doesn't make. So I can't even take the FedEx Cup seriously anymore. It's always been a contrived thing. But if all you want is excitement at the end, see, this is the thing the English Premier League gets right, in my opinion. Back in the old days of Major League Baseball, you had teams in each league. There were no divisions. The team that won each league won the league. And yeah, maybe it was over in September. Maybe you were 10 games ahead in September and that was it. But at least the team that deserved it won. But because now everything's about television and everything's about creating contrived drama and suspense, you can't let anybody get too far ahead, or else, well, why would anybody want to tune in to see who's going to win the FedEx Cup? But once the FedEx Cup doesn't fucking matter and it's just whoever wins the last tournament, why does anybody care about tuning in for that? Yeah, you've created suspense. You've made sure that we're not going to know who the winner's going to be until the very, very end of the year. But what are they really winning? Because there's nobody that thinks that Tommy Fleetwood had the best year that anybody had on the PGA Tour. And if the FedEx Cup isn't meant to at least sniff that distinction, I'm not sure why we even have a season-long points race. What's it for? Why do we keep track of FedEx Cup standings? If Scottie Scheffler's got to get there, and if he doesn't win the tournament, he's going to lose the FedEx Cup to somebody who had an inferior year. And in the case of Tommy Fleetwood, a year that you can't even compare. Now, with that said, I am happy for Tommy Fleetwood. Justin Rose tweeting out, among the many, wishing Tommy Fleetwood well and giving him support. And you can see here, that's a good friend, Justin Rose, major champion, the guy who just lost the Masters in a playoff this year, says, "This felt as good as winning myself. So happy for my man Tommy Fleetwood for enduring the relentless pressure cooker his quality golf has put him in during these playoffs, and there's no more deserving champ." Well, there's no more deserving champ if the champion is just the winner of the Tour Championship, because Tommy Fleetwood shot the lowest score and he went out there and he won it. So congratulations to Tommy Fleetwood on a hard-earned victory and for shaking off the demons of some Sundays that were very close and didn't go his way. After the big victory, he sat down and faced the media. And if you don't know much about Tommy Fleetwood, if you're not familiar, this clip is going to give you a real good idea of why so many people hold him in such high esteem.
You say, why do people like me so much? I've always been very lucky that I make a great connection with people. I try and be, if I could give myself, if I could give my kids one piece of advice, I mean, there's tons of advice, but I always tell them to be a good person first, and I've always tried to do that. My dad always told me that, even when I was an aspiring young amateur golfer, professional golfer. He always wanted me to be, he always said, person first, golfer second. You know, you're a good person first. Whatever happens after that, you know, you try and be a good golfer second. I've always tried to be that.
Good advice for anyone there, for sure. And Tommy Fleetwood certainly seems to be a good person. He is now also $10 million richer and off the schneid on the PGA Tour win list.